The gate slammed so hard, the old metal shook. "Get out of my house!" Uncle Namdi's voice roared across the dusty compound. Amaka staggered backward with her old bag on her head. A warm pack of jollof rice sat in the hands of the homeless man she had just fed. Her eyes burned with tears, her legs trembled, her uncle's hand was still on the lock. Her aunt, Sandra, stood behind him with folded arms and a sharp, cold smile. Outside the gate, the evening light was fading. A dog barked down the street, a Kiki passed slowly, rattling like a tired tin can. Amaka held her breath and whispered, "Please, uncle. I'm sorry." The lock turned. The gate clicked shut. Silence. That was the moment everything in Amaka's life broke, and then began to change. Hours earlier, the compound smelled of dust and soap as Amaka bent over a big bowl of plates. Her back ached. Soapy water ran down her wrists, and the last light of day fell across the cracked tiles like a tired blanket. She had swept the yard, fetched water from the public tap, and scrubbed the kitchen floor. Her stomach growled. She had saved a small pack of jollof rice for dinner, like a promise waiting for later. "Amaka," Aunt Sandra's voice cut the air like a blade. "Are you done? Why are you so slow?" "I'm almost done, Auntie," Amaka said gently. Her voice never rose. It could not. Not in this house. Since her parents died in that terrible accident, she had learned to swallow her pain like a pill. Uncle Namdi moved into her father's house the week after the burial. He said he came to help. But help felt like a heavy chain. Every day the list of chores grew. Every night the insults grew louder. There was always something wrong with Amaka. Too slow, too quiet, too thin, too emotional, too kind. Her mother's words lived in her heart. Kindness pays back. Give from the little you have, even on your worst day. Don't become cruel because others are cruel to you. So Amaka kept her voice soft and her hands steady. Now, as she rinsed the last plate, she heard it. A hesitant knock at the gate. Not a strong knock, a tired one. 3 soft taps. She wiped her hands and looked toward the entrance. Through the gap in the gate, she saw him. A thin man in a faded shirt, his beard rough, his eyes gentle and hungry. He looked like the wind had pushed him down many roads. "Please," the man said with a small bow. "I am sorry to disturb you. Do you have any leftover food?" Amaka's eyes moved to the small pack she saved for herself. Her stomach twisted with need, but her mother's voice rose again inside her. Kindness pays back. "Yes," Amaka said. "Wait here." She walked back into the small kitchen. The rice was not much, just enough to make her night warm. She opened the drawer, took a clean spoon, and then paused. A thought crossed her mind. If I give this away, I will sleep hungry. Another thought followed. But I can give. She took the pack, added the last 2 pieces of chicken she had kept hidden at the back of the pot, and wrapped it with care. As she turned to go, she saw Aunt Sandra in the doorway, one eyebrow raised. "What are you carrying?" Aunt Sandra asked. "Nothing, Auntie," Amaka said softly. "Just, Aunt Sandra stepped aside and looked through the window. The homeless man stood at the gate, waiting. The look on Aunt Sandra's face hardened. "To who?" she demanded. "A hungry man," Amaka said. "He asked for leftover food." "Leftover?" Aunt Sandra hissed. "And you think you have the right to give out food from this house?" "It's my portion," Amaka said, voice shaking but steady. "I wanted to share." A sharp sound snapped in the air. The slap did not land, but the threat sat between them. Aunt Sandra's finger pointed like a knife. "You think kindness is a crown on your head? Go and ask your stomach if kindness fills it." "Please, Auntie," Amaka began. "Leave me," Aunt Sandra shouted. "Let your uncle see this." The homeless man waited, eyes worried. Amaka stepped out and pushed the pack through the gap. "Please eat," she whispered. "It is warm." "Thank you," he said. His voice was deep and calm. He held the food with both hands, like it was treasure. "What is your name?" "Amaka." He nodded, eyes soft. "I will not forget." At that moment, the front door slammed open. Uncle Namdi stormed across the compound, heavy steps shaking the ground. "So you are feeding strangers with my food? In my house?" Spit flew from his lips. You want to show you are kind? Show your kindness outside. Uncle, it was my portion, Amaka said, hands raised. He was hungry. He did not listen. He rushed into her small room, pulled down her bag from the top of the wardrobe, and stuffed her few clothes into it with rough hands. Uncle, please, Amaka begged, running after him. Please don't do this. He dragged the bag back to the gate, shoved it onto her head, and yanked the lock open. Out. Brother, yes, Aunt Sandra cried, clapping once. Teach her sense. The homeless man stepped back, shocked, the pack of jollof still hot in his hands. Namdi pushed Amaka across the threshold. She stumbled, caught herself, and turned, eyes wet. Where should I go? She whispered. Where will I sleep? Sleep on your kindness, he barked. The gate crashed shut. The street swallowed the sound. Night wind raised small dust spirals around her feet. Somewhere a baby cried. Somewhere a generator coughed to life. Amaka hugged herself with one arm and held the bag steady with the other. For a moment, fear was the only thing inside her. Then a quiet voice came from her left. Amaka. She turned. The homeless man stood close now, not too close, but near enough to show he meant no harm. His eyes were not just hungry. They were thoughtful, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. I am sorry, he said. This is not fair. It's okay, Amaka said, even though it wasn't. I would still give you food again. His mouth lifted, just a little. I believe you. Do you trust me? She blinked. Trust? I don't even know you. True, he said, but I know what I must do. Please, follow me. Amaka looked at the gate. She imagined her old bed, the thin mattress, the cracked wall where she drew a tiny flower with pencil when she was 13. She imagined the voices that told her she was nothing. She looked down the road, a road she knew and did not know. She nodded. Okay. They began to walk. The air smelled like rain might come. He held the food with care and ate only a few spoons, then stopped, as if waiting. He asked small questions along the way. What do you like to study? Where did your parents work? What do you dream of? I want to build things with computers, she said. I want to create apps that help people. I want to solve problems. My dad used to call me Engineer Amaka. Engineer Amaka, he repeated, like a promise. They turned off the main road into a quiet street with bright flowers peeking over fences. It was the kind of street Amaka only passed when she fetched water for other people's houses. The homeless man brought out a small phone, pressed one button, and spoke softly. We are at the corner, he said. 2 minutes. Amaka stopped walking. Who are you calling? Someone who can help, he said calmly. Please don't be afraid. I am not afraid, she lied, but the truth shook in her hands. 2 minutes later, the night broke open with soft light. Headlamps swung into the street. Not one car, not two. A smooth black SUV glided to a stop in front of them, its engine purring like a lion at rest. Another followed behind it. The doors opened with a gentle click. A driver in a crisp suit stepped out and lowered his head. Sir, the driver said, voice respectful. Amaka's throat closed. She stared at the homeless man. The torn shirt, the dusty sandals, the gentle eyes. She looked back at the SUVs. She looked at him again. What? What is happening? She whispered. The homeless man turned to her. The streetlights touched his face in a new way now, as if they had been waiting for this second. He stood taller. He handed the half-eaten jollof to the driver, who received it like a gift, then opened the rear door. Please, the man said, eyes steady on Amaka's. Come inside. Amaka did not move. Who are you? Her voice cracked. He smiled, tired, kind, and something else she could not name. Trust me, he said again, and held out his hand. Her fingers hovered in the air, inches from his. The wind paused. Somewhere behind them, a generator died, and the street fell quiet. The driver cleared his throat softly. The second SUV rolled to a stop. A third headlight beam turned the flowers white. At that exact moment, the first gate on the street swung open with a squeal. Uncle Namdi stepped out, face red with anger, eyes wild. He had followed them. Amaka, he shouted, pointing straight at her. Don't you dare enter that car. If you go with this stranger, don't ever come back to my house. The homeless man did not turn. His hand was still out, waiting. Amaka's heart pounded against her ribs like it wanted to run. The whole street held its breath. She took one tiny step forward, and then the back door of the SUV lit up, and a soft voice from inside said, clear and calm, "Sir, everything is ready. Should we drive to the mansion now?" Amaka's eyes widened. Her hand hovered, shaking between the stranger and the unknown life waiting behind that open door. Amaka's fingers trembled in the air, caught between fear, shame, and a small spark of hope she didn't recognize yet. The large SUV door remained open, the soft interior lights glowing like a secret world waiting for her. The man she thought was homeless, dusty shirt, tired shoes, gentle eyes, still held out his hand, patient and calm. Behind her, Uncle Namdi's angry voice cut through the night like a whip. "Amaka, if you enter that car, don't ever come back here. I said don't you dare." But for the first time in years, Amaka realized something shocking. She didn't want to go back. Not to the insults, not to the punishments, not to the nights she cried alone, not to sleeping with her fist under her pillow because she had no blanket. So she took a slow breath, closed her eyes, and placed her hand inside the man's. He closed his fingers gently around hers, not tight, not controlling, just warm. "Good," he whispered. "You're safe." The driver held the door as Amaka stepped inside the SUV. The leather seats felt like clouds. The smell was fresh, soft, nothing like the dust and kerosene smell she was used to. The car hummed quietly, strong and expensive. The homeless man, no longer looking small, slid in beside her and closed the door. Outside, Namdi slammed his fist against the fence and shouted something angry, but the sound faded as the driver rolled up the tinted windows. Inside the SUV, everything fell silent. Amaka sat stiff, her bag on her lap, her eyes wide. Her heart beat so loudly she could hear it. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then the man turned to her. "I am sorry for the fear you felt," he said softly. "I needed to see your heart, and you showed it." Amaka swallowed. "Sir, please, who are you?" The driver glanced at them in the mirror. The bodyguard in the second SUV stepped out and spoke into a walkie-talkie. A third car pulled behind them like an escort. The man reached up and slowly removed the dusty cap on his head. Then he took off the fake rough beard. The transformation was like watching a shadow step into light. His jawline was neat, his real beard well-shaped, and his eyes, still gentle, now looked powerful. "My name is not Jacob the homeless man," he said. Amaka blinked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Then, who are you?" He corrected his shirt calmly and looked at her with a small smile that held both sadness and relief. "My name is Jacob Anderson, CEO of Ander Group." The name hit Amaka like thunder. Jacob Anderson, the billionaire on billboards, the man who sponsors tech competitions across Nigeria, the one people in her village whispered about. She grabbed the seat to steady herself. But you were begging for food." "I was testing something," he said gently, "testing the heart of people. I have seen wealth bring strange things. I wanted to see if there were still people who helped without expecting anything in return." He paused, his eyes searching hers. "And you, Amaka, gave me your last food." Her throat closed. Tears stung her eyes again, not from sadness, but from confusion. "But sir, why me?" He looked down at his hands. "Because you remind me of someone I once knew, someone who was kind to me when I had nothing, someone I never got the chance to repay." He lifted his eyes again. "Tonight, when you fed me, you gave me something money can't buy." Amaka hugged herself, shaking. "But my uncle, he pushed me out. I have nowhere to sleep." Jacob's gaze hardened slightly. "You will never sleep outside again." He nodded once at the driver. "Take us home." The SUV began to move, gliding through the street. The houses passed like shadows. Amaka looked out the tinted window, her uncle shrinking behind, her old life shrinking with him. Inside her chest, something heavy lifted. The road changed from dusty to smooth. The houses changed from small to wide. The streetlights glowed brighter. After 20 minutes, Amaka saw the kind of houses she only watched on TV. Large mansions with tall gates and golden lights. The SUV turned into the biggest one of all. The gate opened automatically. Inside was a compound so clean it looked like the ground had never known dust. A fountain sparkled in the center, flowers lined the walkway, bulbs glowed under the trees like tiny stars. Amaka held her breath. This is your house." Jacob smiled. "Yes, and from this moment on, it's a safe place for you too." The door opened and warm air brushed her face. The marble steps shone. The security men bowed. 2 maids stood waiting, looking respectful. Jacob stepped out first and offered his hand again. "Come," he said. "Let's change your story." Amaka stepped out. Her legs felt weak. Her heart felt like a bird learning to fly. The maids rushed forward. "Welcome, miss. We are happy to have you here." No one had ever said welcome to her like that. Jacob turned to the staff and said firmly, "Prepare a room for her. Something comfortable." "Yes, sir." Amaka touched her chest. A whole room. For me?" Jacob gave her a calm nod. "You deserve more than you've been given." Amaka bit her lip, tears building again. "Sir, thank you. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he said. "Just promise me one thing." She looked up. "What is it?" "Never let anyone convince you that kindness is a weakness." Her tears finally fell. "Now," Jacob said, "let's talk about your dream." Amaka sniffed. "My dream? You told me you want to be a software engineer," he said. "Do you still want that?" Her eyes lit up like someone had turned on a lamp inside her. "Yes, more than anything." "Good," Jacob said, "because starting tomorrow morning, we begin your journey." "My journey," she echoed. Jacob walked ahead and gestured toward the bright hallway. "Yes, your journey to the University of Port Harcourt." Amaka gasped. "But how? I have no money, no connection." "No, you have me," Jacob said simply, and before Amaka could breathe, a distant sound echoed through the mansion. A sharp voice. A woman's voice. "Jacob, are you back? Who is that girl?" Amaka froze, the maids froze, even the driver stopped walking. Jacob closed his eyes slowly. "No," he whispered. "Not tonight." From the corner of the stairs, a tall, fierce-looking woman in a red dress appeared, eyes blazing with suspicion as she stared directly at Amaka. "Jacob," the woman said, pointing sharply, "why is a strange girl entering your mansion at night?" Amaka took one fearful step back. The woman's voice rose. "Who is she?" Jacob's face tightened. Amaka's chest pounded. Then, the woman marched down the stairs fast, heels hitting the marble like thunder, eyes blazing with something dangerous. And she was coming straight toward Amaka. Amaka stood frozen at the foot of the stairs. The woman in the red dress descended step by step, her heels echoing against the marble floor like warning bells. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp. Her makeup was perfect, her jewelry expensive, and her expression carried one clear message: "You don't belong here." Jacob stepped in front of Amaka at once, blocking the woman's path. "Chica, stop," he said calmly. But Chica did not stop. She marched right up to them and pointed a sharp finger at Amaka. "Who is this girl, Jacob?" Amaka's heart hammered. She held her old bag close like a shield. Her feet were ready to run, but her body wouldn't move. "She's a guest," Jacob said firmly. Chica scoffed loudly. "A guest? Dressed like that? At this time of the night? Jacob, are you joking?" "I said," Jacob repeated, voice lower, "she's my guest." Chica stepped closer and glared at Amaka like she was examining a stain. "What's your name?" Amaka swallowed. Amaka." "And why?" Chica said slowly. "Are you walking into a billionaire's mansion like someone dumped outside a bus stop?" Amaka looked down at her feet, embarrassed. Her clothes were dusty, her slippers were worn. Her bag looked like it had been around since the 1980s. Jacob moved again, blocking Chica's line of sight. "That's enough," he said sharply. "No, it's not enough," Chica snapped. "You bring a strange girl into your house without telling me. Who is she to you? Your relative? A new staff? Or—" "Chica!" Jacob's voice cracked like lightning. Everyone went silent. Even the ceiling fan seemed to freeze. Jacob took a breath. Amaka is staying here because I said so, and you will respect that. Chica's eyes widened, shocked that Jacob spoke to her that way. Then slowly, she smiled, not a friendly smile, a dangerous smile. Oh, she said softly. I see. She looked at Amaka again, scanning her from head to toe. So this is how it starts. Jacob rubbed his forehead. Chica, don't start. Start, she said. I'm not starting anything, I'm just seeing clearly. Then she stepped back, raised her chin, and said, Fine, let her stay. But don't blame me when trouble comes. Without another word, she turned sharply, walked up the stairs, and disappeared down the corridor, leaving a burning tension behind her. The maids led Amaka upstairs to her room. It was bigger than her uncle's entire sitting room. Golden curtains, a big bed with white sheets, a soft rug that felt like stepping on clouds, a wardrobe filled with clothes she didn't buy, a bathroom so clean it sparkled. The maids helped her wash up, gave her warm food, and told her to rest. But even after they left, Amaka couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the moment she was pushed out of her uncle's gate. Her parents' faces came to her mind. Her mother's gentle voice, her father's proud laugh, hot tears filled her eyes. She hugged the pillow and cried softly into it. Why did life become like this? She whispered. A knock came at the door. Amaka sat up quickly and wiped her face. Come in. Jacob stepped inside, his footsteps quiet. How are you settling in? He asked gently. Amaka nodded. I'm okay, just thinking. He sat on a chair beside the bed. I know today was a lot. A lot didn't even begin to explain it. I want to be honest with you, Amaka, he continued. Chica is a complicated person. She has a problem with anyone she doesn't understand. Is she your wife? Amaka asked shyly. Jacob chuckled softly. No, Chica is my cousin. She lives here temporarily, and she's not used to me bringing strangers home. Amaka looked down. I didn't want to cause trouble. You didn't, he said. If anything, you brought clarity. She raised her head slightly. Clarity? Yes. You reminded me of something important, of who I used to be before money blinded everyone around me. Amaka didn't understand fully, but she nodded. Jacob's tone became warm. Tonight I want you to sleep. Tomorrow morning we start everything. Your school, your future, your new life. Amaka blinked. New life? Yes, he said, because you're not going back to that house again, ever. Something inside Amaka cracked open, something that had been shut for years. Hope. Real hope. Not the tiny spark she held in her heart. A fire. Jacob stood, gently touched her shoulder and said, Good night, Engineer Amaka. Engineer Amaka, the name her father used to call her. Her chest tightened. She nodded, smiling through tears. Good night, sir. He left quietly. The next morning, sunlight filled the room like a warm hug. Amaka dressed in the clean clothes the maids gave her. Simple, soft, comfortable. She brushed her hair and stepped downstairs. Jacob was waiting with a notebook, a laptop, and a calm smile. Ready? He asked. Amaka nodded. Ready. They talked about universities. He explained the steps. He promised to sponsor everything: tuition, books, laptop, hostel, even monthly allowances. Amaka listened with wide, shining eyes. But halfway through the conversation, the front door burst open. Chica stormed in, holding her phone. Jacob, explain this. Jacob looked up, annoyed. What now? Chica shoved the phone in his face. Your little guest made the neighborhood WhatsApp group, she shouted. Look. Jacob took the phone. A photo was on the screen, a blurry picture of Amaka with her old bag standing beside the SUV, walking into the mansion. The caption read, Who is this strange girl entering Anderson's mansion last night? Amaka's heart dropped. More messages appeared under the picture. Is she his new house girl? Looks like trouble. Where did he pick her from? Better be careful before someone cries later. I smell story, Chica smirked. You see, she said loudly, I told you, drama has already started. Amaka stepped back, her body shaking. I didn't do anything wrong. Jacob stood slowly. His expression changed. Something cold entered his eyes. He turned to Chica. "I warned you last night," he said, voice dangerously calm. "If you ever use your mouth to bring humiliation into this house again—" "Oh, please," Chica snapped. "I'm only telling you what people are saying." "You're feeding it," Jacob shot back, "and hurting someone who has done nothing to you." The air grew tight. The maids stood frozen. Amaka's breath came out fast. Chica folded her arms. "So what are you going to do? She brought attention to this house. People are talking. This is bad for your name." Jacob slowly turned toward Amaka. "Amaka," he said softly, "go upstairs for a moment." "But sir—" "Please." Amaka obeyed, her feet shaky. She climbed halfway up the stairs, but stayed close enough to hear. She watched Jacob turn back to Chica. And then, his next words hit like an explosion. "Chica," he said, "pack your bags." Chica blinked. "Excuse me. You're leaving this house today?" Chica's face turned red. "You're joking." "I'm not. You want to send me out because of this girl, this orphan, this—" Jacob raised his hand. "Don't finish that sentence." Chica's mouth shook with rage. "You can't do this." "I just did." The room went silent. Chica's eyes turned cold as ice. Then her face twisted into something dangerous. "Oh," she whispered, "you will regret this." She grabbed her phone, stormed toward the staircase, and stopped right in front of Amaka. Chica leaned close and whispered, "You have no idea what you just started." Then she walked away. Her heels echoed sharply. Once, twice, 3 times. Then the front door slammed behind her. Jacob exhaled, rubbing his forehead. Amaka gripped the staircase railing, her heart thudding in fear. Jacob looked up at her. "Don't worry," he said gently. "You didn't do anything wrong. This house is safe." But Amaka was not so sure, because from the window upstairs she saw something frightening. Chica standing outside, making a phone call, with a smile that did not look normal. And the man she was talking to stepped out of a black car. A man Amaka recognized from her old neighborhood. A man who once threatened her father. A man she never wanted to see again, Chief Nwoke. Her breath caught in her throat. Why was he here? What did Chica want with him? And why was he smiling back at her? Amaka's fingers tightened around the staircase railing until her knuckles turned white. She knew that face. She could never forget it. Chief Nwoke, the man who once tried to cheat her father out of his land. The man who shouted at their door at night when she was just 9. The man her mother warned her never to talk to. Now, he was standing at Jacob Anderson's gate, smiling like he had just found treasure. And Chica, dangerous, angry, jealous Chica, was shaking his hand. Amaka's heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. Why is he here? What does he want? Why is he talking to Chica? The worst part was, Jacob didn't know any of this. He didn't know who Chief Nwoke really was. He didn't know the kind of man standing outside his mansion. Amaka wanted to run downstairs and warn him, but her legs felt glued to the floor. The longer she watched, the more frightened she became. Chica leaned in and whispered something into Chief Nwoke's ear. His eyebrows rose slowly. Then, he smirked and nodded. That was when Chica turned her head and looked directly up at the window where Amaka stood. Amaka froze. Chica smiled, a slow, wicked smile, like a lion that had finally found the weakest animal in the forest. Chief Nwoke followed her gaze and locked eyes with Amaka. A chill ran through her entire body. Amaka stepped away from the window so fast she almost tripped. Her chest tightened. Her breaths came short. She pressed her back against the wall, shaking. Jacob walked up the stairs toward her. "Amaka, what's wrong?" She didn't know what to say. Her voice felt locked in her throat. "Sir," she whispered. "Do you know that man Chica was talking to?" "No," Jacob said calmly. "I didn't see anyone." "His name is Chief Nwoke," Amaka said, voice trembling. He knew my parents, but not in a good way. He tried to take our land. He made threats. Jacob placed a hand on her shoulder. "Hey, slow down. You're safe. No one is going to hurt you here." She wanted to believe him. She really did. But something told her that Chica bringing Chief Nwok to the house was not a coincidence. It was a warning. "She will try something," Amaka whispered. "She hates me." Jacob nodded slightly. "Yes, she will try something, but she will fail." Amaka swallowed. "How can you be sure?" Jacob gave a small smile. "Because I don't let snakes into my house." His confidence made Amaka feel a little safer, but only a little. "Come," he said, "let's focus on your admission. That is our goal today." 2 months later, life in Jacob's mansion changed Amaka completely. She woke up early every morning to study. She learned how to use a laptop for real work. She wrote code. She solved problems. She read books Jacob recommended. And finally, she was admitted into the University of Port Harcourt to study software engineering. The day she got her admission letter, she cried so hard she couldn't even breathe. Jacob hugged her like a proud father and said, "You earned this, Amaka, not me." Chica was long gone from the mansion by then. She had stormed out weeks earlier after Jacob refused to let her return, but her shadow, her threat, still lingered in the air. Chief Nwok had not come back, but Amaka never forgot his eyes. Still, life was finally peaceful. For a while. One morning in Port Harcourt, Amaka was in her hostel room, packing her bag when she heard her phone ring. It was Jacob. She smiled. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, Engineer Amaka," Jacob said happily. "Guess what?" "What?" she asked. "I got the approval for your scholarship upgrade. You will now receive a monthly allowance for your personal projects." Amaka gasped. "Sir, thank you. Thank you so much." "You deserve it," Jacob said. "I'm visiting Port Harcourt today. I want to check on your progress." "Yes, sir. I'll be waiting." She ended the call and danced quietly around her room. She couldn't wait to show him everything she had been working on. But as she stepped out of her hostel room, she stopped. Someone was waiting for her outside. A woman. Her back was turned, but the hairstyle, the posture, the folded arms. Amaka recognized her instantly. Chica. Amaka's breath caught. What are you doing here?" Chica turned around slowly, smiling. "Well, well, well," she said. "The little orphan turned university girl." Amaka stepped back. "How did you find me?" Chica laughed. "You think you can hide from me? Sweetheart, you don't know who you're dealing with." Amaka clutched her bag. "What do you want?" "Oh, nothing too serious," Chica said lightly. "I just came to give you a warning." Amaka swallowed. "A warning?" "Yes," Chica said, walking closer. "Stay away from Jacob." Amaka frowned. "He's helping me, that's all." Chica leaned in, her eyes cold. "You think people online are still talking about you? That little WhatsApp gossip?" "No, my dear. Something bigger is coming. Something worse." Amaka's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Chica smiled darkly. "Someone is very interested in you. Someone who wants to finish what he started." Amaka froze. "You mean Chief Nwok?" Chica tilted her head. "Smart girl. He remembers your family, he remembers your father, and he wants something from you." "From me?" Amaka whispered. "Oh yes," Chica said, "and I'm helping him find you." Amaka felt her legs tremble. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you doing this?" Chica stepped even closer. "Because Jacob threw me out of his house for you." Amaka shook her head. "Please, I don't want trouble, I don't want—" But Chica suddenly grabbed her chin. "You should want trouble," she hissed, "because trouble is already looking for you." Then she let go, adjusted her purse, and walked away. "Tell Jacob I said hello," she said with a wave. "He'll be here soon." Amaka's heart raced so fast she felt faint. She tried to call Jacob, but her fingers shook, her throat tightened. And then, a black SUV she recognized instantly pulled up in front of the hostel. Jacob stepped out, smiling warmly. "Amaka," he called. But he didn't see Chica disappearing behind the corner. He only saw Amaka, standing still, white as chalk, shaking. "Amaka," Jacob asked, coming closer. "What's wrong?" She opened her mouth to speak, but before a single word came out, a second car suddenly pulled up behind Jacob's SUV. A familiar car. A dangerous car. Chief Nwok stepped out, eyes fixed on Amaka, and this time, he was not smiling. Jacob turned sharply when he heard the second car door slam shut. Chief Nwoke stepped out, straightening his long lace caftan. His eyes locked on Amaka with a cold, intentional stare, like a hunter who finally caught sight of the animal he'd been tracking for years. Amaka felt her legs weaken, her throat tightened. Her heartbeat thumped painfully against her chest. "Jacob," she whispered, voice shaking, please don't let him near me." Jacob glanced at her, confusion shifting into quick alertness. He stepped slightly in front of her, protective. "Sir," Jacob said calmly but firmly, "how can I help you?" Chief Nwoke smiled, showing teeth that didn't match the warmth of a smile at all. "Oh, I'm not here for you, Mr. Anderson," he said. "I'm here for her." He pointed directly at Amaka. Jacob's jaw tightened. "You don't talk to her like that." But Chief Nwoke ignored him completely. He took a slow step closer toward Amaka. "Ah, Amaka," he said, "your father owed me a great debt before he died. I did not forget. I have been looking for you for years." Amaka's hands shook. "My father didn't owe you anything. You lied to him. You tried to take our land." Chief Nwoke chuckled. "Believe what you like, but I have papers. I have proof." "No, you don't," Amaka cried. Jacob stepped closer to Chief Nwoke, standing between them. "You're not coming near her," Jacob said, voice turning sharp. Chief Nwoke's smile faded. "Mr. Anderson, you may be powerful in business, but there are things happening in this country you do not understand. I advise you not to get involved." Jacob didn't blink. "I'm involved already." For the first time, Chief Nwoke's eyes darkened. He took another step forward. "You are making a mistake." Jacob stepped closer, not backing down. "No," he said quietly. "You are." The air thickened. Students passing by slowed their steps, watching from a distance. Some whispered. Some stopped completely. Chief Nwoke finally exhaled and looked at Amaka again. "You cannot hide behind him forever," he said. "Your parents' past will always find you." Then he turned. He walked back to his car with slow, confident steps, like someone who had just planted a dangerous seed. He got in, the engine roared, the car sped off, leaving a cloud of dust and fear behind. Jacob touched Amaka's arm gently. "Are you okay?" Amaka shook her head. Tears streamed down her cheeks uncontrollably. He said he has papers. He said my father owed him. He wants something from me. Why? Why won't my past leave me alone?" Jacob pulled her into a gentle hug. "Listen to me, I promise you. No one will hurt you. Not while I'm alive." Amaka sobbed into his shoulder. "Why is this happening?" "Because some people hate to see others rise," Jacob said. "But that doesn't mean you stop rising." Amaka wiped her eyes. "What do I do now?" Jacob held her shoulders and looked straight into her eyes. "You become everything your parents prayed you would be," he said. "You finish your degree, you build your life, you grow your light. And when you are strong enough, we will face men like Chief Nwoke together." Amaka nodded slowly, breathing shakily. But then she noticed something, a phone on the floor near a small tree. Someone had been recording. She bent and picked it up. The screen was still recording. Her argument with Chief Nwoke, Jacob protecting her. Everything was there. "Whose phone is this?" Jacob asked. Before Amaka could answer, a boy ran toward them. "That's my phone, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to record without permission. He swallowed. "I heard Chief Nwoke talking loudly on a call earlier. He was planning something." Amaka stiffened. "Planning what?" The boy hesitated. "I didn't hear everything, but I heard him say your name. And something about making sure your future is destroyed before it even starts." Amaka felt the world tilt. Jacob exhaled slowly. "Send the recording to me." Yes, sir." The boy bowed and ran off. Jacob held Amaka's hand. "We need to leave now." "But I have class," Amaka whispered. Jacob shook his head. "Today, your safety is more important." He ushered her into the SUV. The driver closed the door gently. The engine hummed. As they drove off, Amaka stared out the window, heart pounding, mind racing. "Jacob," she whispered. "What if he comes back?" Jacob looked at her with steady eyes. Then he'll find you stronger than he expected. 4 years later, Amaka tapped the microphone. The hall was packed. Students, tech giants, investors, cameras, journalists. Her hair was beautifully styled. Her suit was sharp and elegant. The stage lights reflected on her skin. Behind her, on the giant projector screen, bold letters read, Project Nova, lead developer Amaka Chisholm. She took a deep breath and smiled. "Good afternoon, everyone," she said. "My name is Amaka, and today I present the final version of Project Nova." The room erupted into applause. Jacob sat in the front row, smiling proudly. And beside him, the man she met during her internship, Benjamin, her new fiancé, the man who supported her dreams as much as she supported his. Amaka clicked the remote. The screen changed, revealing the software she built. The project that would earn the company hundreds of millions of dollars. People stood from their seats, cameras flashed. Her name filled the room in cheers. Amaka! 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 She felt tears gather at the corners of her eyes. After the presentation, reporters crowded around her. What inspired you? What would you tell young girls in Nigeria? How did you rise from nothing to become the richest young woman in tech? Amaka smiled softly. My mother always said one thing, she replied. Kindness pays back. What you give comes back bigger. Benjamin walked to her side and held her hand. Jacob stood behind them, eyes wet with pride. The applause grew louder, but somewhere at the back of the hall, someone else was watching. A man in dark glasses, with a familiar jawline, a familiar posture. Chief Nwoke. He watched her silently, then smiled. A smile that promised their story wasn't over. And as Amaka stepped off the stage to greet the invited guests, she felt a familiar chill behind her, almost like a storm she thought she escaped, was slowly returning. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.